Hey everyone, welcome to this brand new video tutorial, and this is going to be a series of tutorials that covers using the free paint program called Krita, and we're going to specifically be using it for traditional animation. So this very first video is going to cover downloading Krita and then getting it set up again for the purpose of animation. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is you want to download Krita. You can just go to krita.org. Click on Get Krita Now, and then you'll basically see a download button which will show you whatever operating system you're using, Windows or Mac. Unfortunately, Krita does not work in a browser, so it's not going to work on a phone or a Chromebook or something like that. So you'd want to go ahead and click on this. At the time of this recording, version 4.2.9 is the latest and greatest. Okay, good. All right, so this is what we're going to be covering today over here on the left. Setting up something called a Workspace, creating custom keyboard shortcuts meant for animation, and if you're brand new to Krita, some of the basics like picking out colors, brushes, and of course saving your work. All right, so I will flip back to that. Let me get a little bit more space here. So when you first set up Krita, you're going to be greeted with a screen kind of like this. You'll see tools over here on the left hand side. You'll see colors up here on the upper right, layers here on the middle right, and brushes here on the bottom right. You might see some news articles over here. I guess I have to enable that. And then most importantly, you've got Start New File and Open an Existing File. So I'm going to click on New File here. And there we go. All right, so there's a bunch of templates and things like that over here on the left-hand side, but it's really not necessary at all. If you want to just use Krita for painting, you can just come over here and you've got the width and the height. You'd probably want to click on this, and you probably only want to use pixels or inches. So if you wanted to paint some illustration, you might want the width to be 8.5 or 8.5. and 11 if you wanted a piece of traditional paper. For animation, since this whole video tutorial series is for animation, we're going to set these both to pixels. Make sure you set them both width and height. And we're going to set it at 1920 pixels for the width and 1080 for the height, and a resolution of 72. These are the three numbers that you're going to want if you want to do high definition or HD settings for YouTube or some other video service. Okay, and then you can go ahead and click on Create, and there you are. I am using my mouse wheel to zoom in and zoom out so you can see the canvas, and I'm going to leave it kind of like this so you can see the outer boundaries here. Okay, so here we are in Krita. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we'll cover some of the basics just since we're here before we actually introduce animation. So, all right, I am using a drawing tablet and a pen, and so I'm just going to go ahead and show you some of the basics here. Okay, so if you press on your keyboard, if you press the letter B, that is the brush tool, and you can go ahead and just paint. Krita is pressure sensitive, so if you do have a drawing tablet, it will go ahead and show you pressure sensitivity. You'll see that if I press harder, I'm getting a more opaque. If I press a little lighter, I can get very light brushes. Okay, so over here on the upper right-hand corner, you'll see that I've got the color picker here. It's a two-step process like most paint programs. You click and drag in the outer color wheel out here, and that allows you to go ahead and choose whatever color you want, whatever hue you want. So I'm going to go ahead and choose something over here in blue. Then you come inside here for the triangle, and this allows you to choose your saturation and your value. So your value is right here where you choose your lights and darks, so pure black, pure white, everything in between. Your saturation is the more you go to the bottom right-hand corner, that's going to be more saturated colors, really bright poppy colors. And as you go more towards the center here, you get more muted colors. So now I've got that there. Okay, changing your brush size. So it's really easy in Krita. I really like how the way they have it set up. So if you hold down the Shift key and you click and drag your mouse to the right, you'll instantly make a bigger brush size. Shift, drag to the left, makes it really small. That's really nice. I love working that way. So fast. You can also use the bracket keys. So left bracket will go smaller, right bracket will go larger, and you can go like that. And that's kind of the old school way of doing it in other paint programs. And last but not least, up here, you'll see two sliders that say opacity and size. You can click and drag the size, and that will manually give you a larger brush size, and click and drag it down. But that's basically a slower way of doing it, so try to avoid that if you can. Okay. If you want to clear your canvas and just get rid of everything, one quick way is to simply come up here to the Edit menu and just choose Clear, and that will just clear your whole layer. When you look over here for your layers, you'll notice that you start off with a background layer, and that is the actual white paper, and it is locked. Generally, you don't want to draw on your background layer. You always want to draw on a brand new, empty, or transparent, invisible layer. So if I click on the little eyeball here, you'll see I'm hiding the white background, and so now you're seeing this checkerboard. If you're brand new to digital art and you don't know what that checkerboard is, that basically means it's invisible, it's transparent. So you want to make sure that you have layer 1 selected and you are drawing on layer 1. That gives you much greater flexibility, and you can go ahead and make lots of changes and have much greater time doing things. So just try to do that. Okay, on to the brushes. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a big old library where you can click and drag the scroll wheel and you can see all the brushes. And there's a ton here. The brushes are typically grouped together by categories. So like up here is all the erasers and the pencils. They're all grouped together. As you scroll down, you'll start getting into other brushes like blenders, watercolors, special effects brushes, you name it. There's lots of tutorials on the web, on YouTube specifically, so check them out. One nice thing is right here where it says brush presets, it says all. If you click on that, you'll see a whole bunch of different categories. So for instance, when I'm animating, I typically go here to the sketch category, and that way I just get the brushes that are going to allow me to do my digital sketching. This is a 2B pencil here, I believe. If you want to know the name of a brush, you just hover over the icon and it tells you this one here is called Pencil 1 Hard. And so you can start to learn the names of the brushes and of course which ones are your favorites. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you a couple more things for the basics. So when you draw, I am on a Mac, so if I press Command Z, it will undo the last brushstroke that I just did. If you're on a Windows computer, Control Z should do the same thing. You can of course go up to Edit and choose Undo, and that will undo the last brushstroke that you did. One thing that I love about Krita is that whatever brush you're in, if you just press the letter E as an eraser, you'll now go into erase mode, and you'll see the button right here, it's lit up. And so now I can just quickly erase, then I can press E again, turn off the eraser, and now I'm back into brush mode. And that's incredibly helpful because what I can do is, let me find a really good textured brush here. Here's a nice textured brush. Actually, here's a really nice one that I can get kind of tilt and rotate on. You can see that I can change it and rotate it and spin it around. So there we go. If I press E, I can now go ahead and I can just erase, and I'm getting an eraser that looks exactly like the brush tip. So I get this nice textured, natural looking brush. And I don't have to change the brush at all. I can just press E and I'm good to go. So remember that the eraser is not just for taking and cleaning up mistakes, it is also for creation. So try to get comfortable with that. Okay, so those are the basics. Actually, let me go ahead and cover saving. So let's say that's what I want to save. So here's how you save, and then we'll get on to the workspace and the custom keyboard shortcuts. So I'm going to simply come up here to File, Save. That's pretty basic, but the Krita window looks a little bit different than what you might be used to on a typical Mac or Windows. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click on the little home button here that says My Name, And then right here, you'll see my desktop folder. So you got to double click on the desktop folder, and now I'm on the desktop. And you'll see here's your path right here. It says users, my name, and then the desktop folder. On Windows, it is going to look slightly different, but not much. So now right here where it says file name, I'm just going to go ahead and call this demo, and I'll hit save. Now at the time of this recording, at least on a Mac, what's weird is that on a Mac, you will see your project. So let me show you what this does on a Mac. Okay, so on a Mac, you'll see that I actually get two files, and I'll zoom in here so you can see. You get two files here. So this is the actual project file here, demo.kra, and then, whoops, actually that's not it right there. That belongs to that. Okay, so that's it there. Let me get back into Krita. There we go, and I'll just do another brushstroke here, and I will save. Okay, so now that I've done the save, I should get, here we go, I should get a backup file. And so that's what this is right here. This is a backup file with the little tilde symbol there. So if this gets deleted, or you get a virus, or your little brother or sister deleted or something like that, you can remove the tilde from this file, and it will do its best to go ahead and give you a save. And I notice it works pretty well. So, okay, we're coming up at about 12 minutes now just for this segment. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video or stop it. And in the second video, I'll go ahead and I'll talk to you about setting up the workspace and then doing custom keyboard shortcuts, all for animation. So I will see you in the next video.